Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a video on how to crochet this really cute daisy flower bookmark for your books. This is completely beginner friendly, but I do have to say this uses almost every single beginner stitch. So if you don't know how to do basic crochet stitches, I would practice that before coming to this video. I will slowly show you how to do everything 1 or 2 times, but after that I will be moving on. So if you don't know how to do the basic crochet stitches, I would go practice some more and then come back to this video. I will have the written pattern in the description box down below, and it'll just be a Google Doc that you guys can download for yourself completely free. I do also sell these over on Etsy, so if you're interested in purchasing one, I do have them over there. So let's get into the materials. Of course, you're going to need some yarn, so just choose 2 colors that you'd like to use for the flower. You need a color for the flower, and then you need a color for the stem. I'm going to use this orange for the flower and then the green for the stem. I use Red Heart Super Saver. It's my favorite brand, my favorite yarn, and it's really sturdy for bookmarks. You're going to need a pair of scissors, a crochet hook. I use a 5mm just because I love that size. The bigger the hook you use, the bigger the flower is going to be. The smaller the hook, the smaller the flower is going to be. So it's just a personal preference. Then you're going to need a yarn needle. Optionally, you can use a stitch marker as well if you have a hard time keeping up with your stitches. And then optionally as well, I'm going to show you guys a way to seal all of your ends so the bookmark stays as sturdy as possible, but these 2 items are completely unnecessary if you are a beginner. This is a needle felting tool, and then this is just a foam sponge to go with it, but I'll show you guys that at the end. First, you're going to want to start with your flower color. So like I said, mine is going to be orange. And the first thing that we are going to do is that we are going to chain 2. Like I said, if you guys don't know how to do the basic stitches, then this video is probably too advanced for you, and this is not at the point where you're at in your crochet journey, which is okay, but I will show you how to do it very quickly. So first of all, you need to make a slip knot. So this is just how I do it, and I will try to do it as slow as possible. Sorry for my messed up hand. Unfortunately, that's just the way they look now. But I just take my fingers like this. I wrap this around like that, so they're kind of crisscrossed, and then I take my hook, I go under the front loop, over the back loop, and then I just pull it like this, and this is how I make the slip knot. There are so many different easier ways to make a slip knot. That's just how I personally do it, and that's the fastest for me. I always leave a little bit of a tail in any project that I do because I want enough room to weave it in, so just make sure you have a decent tail. It doesn't have to be huge, but long enough where you can weave it in at the end. So we went ahead and we did the slip knot. Now we need to do the chain 2. So to chain, you're going to yarn over the hook and pull it through. And that makes a chain. And then do 1 more. So yarn over, pull through, and now we have the 2 chains. These are the 2 stitches right here. The V shape is a stitch. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work 5 single crochets into this second chain here. So the second chain from the hook, 1, 2, you're going to insert your hook into that second chain. So you have 2 on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through, you'll have 2 on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over again and pull through 2 of those, and that makes a single crochet. So you're going to want to do that 5 times. So that was the first one. We're going to go back into the same chain. So we're going to go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's the second single crochet. Then we have the third, fourth, 5th, and you're going to see that it's going to start making a circle. So here is what it should look like. The end right here will kind of try to come out, and this is where I just kind of pull it tightly. So this tail that we have left, if you pull it, the circle will tighten up a little bit and it'll make it look a lot neater. So here are the 5 single crochets we just did. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These V's right here are the stitches. These are what you always are working into. So as you can see, this is the beginning of it right here. This is not a stitch, but we are coming back to this first stitch right here. So what you're going to do is in this first V stitch right here that you see, you're going to slip stitch into it. So you're going to take your hook and push it into the V. And I feel like this is where beginners get really confused. You're going to push underneath both of the stitches like this. So you'll see both of the stitches sitting on your hook. And then to slip stitch, you just yarn over and pull through that one and also pull through this one. So then you make a perfect circle. This is going to be the base of the flower that you see right here, and then we're going to work the petals around. So since we have 5 stitches, we're going to be making 5 petals. So now what you're going to do is we're going to do some chains again. So just like we did at the beginning, we're going to chain 4. So yarn over, pull through, 2, 3, 4. 4 chains right there. And since we just slip stitched into that first stitch, we're still going to be working into the hole of the first stitch. So now it's going to get a little more tricky, but I promise it's really easy once you get the hang of how to do these stitches. So now we're about to do a triple crochet. I know it sounds intimidating, but like I said, this project uses all of the basic stitches, which I think is really important for beginners to learn. So as you can see, we're still working in this first chain here, so we're going to start with a triple crochet. To do a triple crochet, instead of yarning over once like a double crochet, you're going to yarn twice. So just wrap around twice like this. You'll have these 2 on your hook and then the chain on your hook. And you're going to put your hook into this first stitch that we have already slip stitched into. So put your hook into there. You're going to yarn over and pull through the first. You're going to have 4 on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2, 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 again, 2 on your hook, then yarn over and pull through the last 2, and that makes a triple crochet. I will do that with you guys one more time so we don't get confused. We're going to do 3 triple crochets. So that was the first one, and we're just going to continue working in this same first stitch that we've been working in. So you're going to yarn over twice, push back into the same stitch we've been working in, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we have the second triple crochet. Now we're going to do the third. So going to yarn over, go through the same stitch that we've been working in, yarn over, and there's the third triple crochet. So we've got our chain 4, 3 triple crochets, and then to finish off this petal, we're going to do another chain 4. So from this point, you're just going to chain 4. So yarn over, pull through, 2, 3, 4. And then for the last time, we're going to go back into the stitch that we've been working in. You can kind of see where a hole has been formed, and you're going to slip stitch back into that stitch. So you just put your hook in there, like I showed you guys before how to slip stitch, and then yarn over and pull through, and then pull through. And then we have finished the first petal. So we are just going to keep repeating that over and over again in the next 4 stitches. So we, as you can see in the circle here, we have stitch 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all we have left. So we're just going to be doing the same thing in each stitch all the way around, and that's going to make the 5 petals. So what you need to do to start the next petal is we're going to have the next stitch. So you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch to start the new petal. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through, and then we start the process for the next petal. So we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to continue working in the same stitch until we finish the petal. So you can see another hole forming right here where we just slip stitched, and we're going to start the triple crochet again. So for the triple crochet, yarning over twice, inserting in, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we have a triple crochet. And like I said, each petal is going to have 3 triple crochets. So go ahead and do 3 triple crochets in that same stitch. And I'm gonna have the pattern up on the screen too, to help you guys learn how to read patterns as you work this project, because learning how to read patterns is very important. Alright, I did the 3 triple crochets, and now to finish off the petal like we did before, you're going to chain 4. So yarn over, 2, 3, 4, and slip stitch back into that same stitch that we've been working in. And that will finish off the second petal. So as you can see, works up very quickly. This takes about 10-15 minutes for me to make an entire flower. So this is really good to make as a beginner because you can just practice over and over again. And we're just going to continue doing the same thing, but I'm going to keep filming it so you guys can work with me. So we have the third stitch that we're going to slip stitch into. So go ahead and slip stitch into the next stitch. Slip stitching. Then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to do 3 triple crochets into that stitch. So go ahead and do the 3 triple crochets. All right, here's the third one. After the third triple crochet is done, once again you're going to chain 4 and slip stitch back into the stitch that we have been working in. So yarn over, pull through 2. And we just finished the third petal, and now all we have is 2 petals left. So you're gonna have 2 stitches left, and you're gonna see this little chain at the end too. Ignore that one. These are the 2 that we are going to be working in. So this is going to be petal 4, this will be petal 5. Alright, once again you're going to want to slip stitch into the next stitch to start the petal. You always want to slip stitch into the stitch before you start the petal. So slip stitch into there, chain 4, and then do 3 triple crochets into the same stitch. And then to finish off the petal, chain 4, and slip stitch back into the same stitch. And we have now finished petal 4. So it may feel like it's getting a little tight, but you will see that there is still there's like 2 little stitches here. This is the beginning stitch that we made, but this will be the final stitch, number 5, and that'll be the final petal. So once again, don't forget, slip stitch into the stitch before you start the new petal, chain 4, and then do 3 triple crochets. And then to finish off this last petal, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then slip stitch back into that final stitch that we have been working in the entire time. And you finish the 5 petals. So that is like the most complicated part, I feel like, of this entire project. So if you got that down, then the rest is gonna be pretty easy for you. But this last little stitch right here, which was the beginning slip stitches, I believe that we did, you're just going to slip stitch into here to finish the project. So there's going to be a little bit of a gapping with a little stitch right there. Just slip stitch into it. So insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through 2, and that will finish off the flower. So you're just going to cut a little bit of a tail here, and then finish off. To finish off, what I do is I just yarn over and pull through like this, and then just tighten it, and it makes a knot. That's how I finish off. Everybody does it a little bit differently. And I don't know if you've been able to tell, I've been working in my beginning tail throughout the project, but as a beginner I can understand how that would be a little bit complicated to work it in. So don't worry about it if you can't figure out how to keep it in. You can weave it in later, it's not super important. So you're gonna have probably 2 tails hanging out, and we'll worry about that later. But here is your daisy. As you can see, very easy, very simple, very quick. And this is going to be the bottom of the flower, so where we finished off, I always use that as the bottom of the flower, and then this is the top. But now we are going to work on the stem. Whatever color you'd like. Of course, I'm just going to use green because it's a flower. This part may seem a little bit complicated, but it's pretty easy. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to make some chains. So we're going to make a slip knot. So I'm slowly just going to wrap my fingers around like this, under, over, pull through, and I made a slip knot. Next, we're going to do some chains. So we're going to chain 7, and this is going to make the leaf down here. So let's go ahead and chain. We're going to yarn over and pull through 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got a 7 chain right here full of 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So whenever a pattern says second chain from the hook, you're going to look at your hook and you're going to count the chains away from your hook. So the second one would be this one right here, 1, 2. So we're going to insert our hook and do a single crochet. So yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and we just did a single crochet. Now we're going to half double crochet in the next one. We have not done this stitch yet, but it's very, very easy. So to do a half double crochet, we're going to do it in this next stitch right here. So you're going to yarn over, and you're going to put your hook into the stitch. You're going to have 3 on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through that first one right there. You're still going to have 3 on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of the loops. And that makes a half double crochet. That is my personal favorite stitch. I love doing that stitch. Now we're going to do a double crochet. I have not showed you guys how to do that yet. So let's go ahead and do a double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2, both of these are just going to have a double crochet in them. To do a double crochet, you're going to yarn over, put your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 of them. You're gonna have 2 on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. And that is a double crochet. So now you can see that the leaf is starting to form. So let's do that one more time. Yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we just did 2 double crochets. So you can see where it's kind of increasing up right here. Then we're going to do a half double crochet again. So you're going to yarn over. In the next stitch right here, you're going to put your hook in, yarn over, pull through 1, and for a half double crochet, you're just going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And then this last stitch right here in front of the knot, you're going to just do another single crochet. So just insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And we have done one side of the leaf here. So now we are going to go ahead and chain 1. So just yarn over and pull through, and we made a chain. Now we're going to start working on the other side over here. We're not going to flip, we're going to just keep going. So this one might be a little bit more complicated, but you can see the stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can see the stitches. They're just a little bit more wobbly. So right here, you're going to see a pretty significant hole. You're going to go ahead and do another single crochet in there. So insert your hook. And I start working in my tail within this, but like I said, if that confuses you, just move it out of the way and we can worry about it later. Yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So we just did a single crochet right there. Then we're going to go into this next stitch hole right here, which you can kind of see, and we're going to do a half double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. Then we're going to do a double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So this is a stitch and this is a stitch. So double crochet, insert, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, next stitch, double crochet. Okay, we did 2 double crochets. Now we're going to go back to a half double crochet in this next hole, which these will be pretty obvious, so you can see that hole right there. So yarn over, insert hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. And then you will see this last hole right here, you're just going to do another single crochet. So insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, just like that. And you have finished off the leaf. So now to start making the length, you're going to slip stitch into this top stitch right here. So go ahead and do a slip stitch. And we're going to be at the top of the leaf right here. And this is the end that we have just been weaving in the whole time. At this point, I kind of just put it over to the side and we're going to worry about that later. Now we're going to do a bunch of chaining. This chain is going to be however long you want to make it. I do 45 chains, and that seems to be the typical size that fits an average hardcover book, but every single book is different. So you can chain it to however long you want. You can just measure it to your book. I always chain 45. So I'm going to show you once again how to do a chain, and then I'm just going to do it really quickly myself. So at this point, you're just going to yarn over and pull through, and that makes a chain. Then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you're just going to keep going until you get to 45. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that real quick. All right, I did my 45 chains here. And now what you're going to do is we're gonna start working back down the chain. And this is just to make it extra sturdy. When you're using a bookmark all the time, you need it to be as sturdy as possible so it doesn't get like super thin after a very short period of time. So now we are going to make a loop. This is going to be important to how to finish it off, so definitely do this. I just skip 5 stitches, so in the 5th chain from the hook, so we're going to count together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right here. I'm going to insert the hook, and then I'm just going to slip stitch. So yarn over and pull through 2. And this will make a little loop right here, which will be important later. So make sure to do that. And then we're just going to slip stitch all the way down the chain. I prefer slip stitching. Some people prefer to do single crochets, so whichever you're more comfortable with, you can single crochet down the chain. I'm just going to do slip stitches because I personally like the way that looks more. So I'm going to, in the next chain from the hook, I'm going to insert and pull through both. And that just makes a slip stitch, and I am just going to be doing that all the way down the chain. Slip stitching down chains is very tedious, and I honestly hate doing it, but I just personally like how it looks with the bookmarks, and also it kind of makes the bookmark a little bit more stretchy, whereas I feel like the single crochets would keep it more to the size that you're at. Because when you have a really big hardcover, sometimes you need a bookmark that stretches a little bit. So I just personally choose this, but whatever you feel more comfortable with, especially as a beginner. And I just really like the effect that it gives. So I hope this tutorial is easy enough for beginners out there. I haven't done too many beginner tutorials. I feel like I'm going slow enough and talking clear enough, but yeah, I hope it's easy enough for you guys. And if it isn't super easy as a beginner, like I said, then you might not just be at this point yet, and that is totally okay. That's why practice is really important, and I also always recommend beginners to really try to learn how to read patterns, because videos are not always going to be the best resource for you, and learning how to read patterns is just very important to the craft. I really am passionate about that because I was taught how to crochet the old-fashioned way because my grandmother taught me. So the only resources I had crocheting growing up was just through books and patterns and through my grandmother showing me, and not through YouTube tutorials. So I really recommend learning patterns. Okay, so we're getting back to the end. So we have these last couple stitches here. I'm gonna go ahead and slip stitch into this last stitch before we get back to the leaf. So just insert and pull through 2. And then to finish it off, there's going to be this beginning stitch right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and slip stitch through this one too before I finish it off. So I'm just going to slip stitch like that. And then we're going to cut off a tail. And once again, before I pull through, I just do a little chain and pull through and then tighten it. So what I do at this point is I take my 2 tails and I tie them together. I am really, really dedicated at trying to make my crochet projects as tight and sturdy as possible because I want people to be able to use them for a long time. So I personally will just take my 2 tails obviously being careful at how tight you tie it because it can deform your leaf. And I just tie a couple of knots to make it sturdy, just like this. And if you don't like weaving in your ends as a beginner, if you don't really understand that, I mean, you can cut it from this point. I just want it to look, you know, as professional as possible. So now you're going to take your yarn needle and you're going to weave in your ends. I hate weaving in ends, but it's very important to make sure that your project does not unravel over time. So I have the yarn into the hook, and then what I do is I just take the needle and I just start weaving in the ends through all of the different chains and everything that I was making in the leaf. It's also really important to know how to sew when it comes to crocheting, because you do have to sew quite a lot when you crochet, so that's something that you should definitely learn. But I just weave them in, going back and forth to make sure that it's like as tight as possible, because I have made many of these bookmarks for like family members and stuff. And the first couple ones that I ever made without doing this, they didn't last very long. But now my new ones, they are incredibly sturdy. So once you weave it into the amount that you are happy with, make sure to pull on it. Then what I do is I just cut it. And you can save these ends to use as stuffing later, or you can just throw them away. I use them as stuffing. And so now this is the optional part that I was talking about, taking this. So in order to keep my ends completely just stable, what I like to do is put this up against a foam block and use this. It's very sharp, be careful. And what I do is I just start needle felting the ends, being careful of course. And I do both sides. And this basically just melts all of your ends into each other and it stays like super sturdy. So like I said, that's optional, but I do that with like all of my ends now, and it's a game changer. So now we have the stem and now we have the flower. So how do we assemble it? It's super easy. So what I do is, like I said, where the tails end of the flower, this is where I insert the stem. So I just, from the back of the flower, I take my hook and I put my hook through this little hole right here, just like that. And then I take the loop, I just insert my hook into the little hole, and then I just pull it through the hole of the flower, like that. And then it should just easily slide through like that. Then it's gonna look something like this. Then with the little hole right here, you're going to take your leaf, and I kind of just fold it and push the leaf through the hole. So you can make the loop bigger in future projects that you like to do. But sometimes what I'll do is I'll take my hook and I will literally just like pull the leaf through the loop to get it started, and then I just kind of like wiggle it through. Just like that. And then it's going to look like this. So if you just pull, it will knot itself up into the flower right there. And now it's secure. You can tie another knot there if you want to. I usually don't. It's usually pretty sturdy. But what I do, I tie a knot right here. So the reason that I do that is so when the book is closed, it is getting hung on this knot right here and it stays perfectly sturdy in your book. So I always tie a knot right there. So to do that, you literally just tie a knot like you would a shoe. And then I just pull it as close to the leaf as possible and then just tighten it. And that will also keep your ends secure too. So there we have it. Now we're almost done. The next thing I like to do is tie these ends together. So for the flower, I'm just going to tie these ends together. If they're not close enough to tie together, then you can just weave them in like we did with the leaf. But I tie them in a knot because, like I said, I like to keep it as secure as possible. And then I take my yarn needle and I'm just going to weave my ends through this middle part right here. Okay, once you're done weaving in, then you're just going to cut the excess, and then at this point, if you want to needle felt it, then go ahead and do that. I usually just needle felt the middle. And that is how you make a very simple daisy flower. And this tutorial uses every single beginner stitch. So it really just helps you visualize and learn how to do every stitch, but you're making something other than a blanket or a scarf. So I hope this was simple enough. If you want any other tutorials, let me know. I do want to make like beginner workshop videos where I show you slowly how to do each stitch and stuff. So let me know if you want to see that. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.